impressed with how strong our voices have been over the course of this past week in defending the University of Connecticut and saying no to the draconian cuts that every Republican legislator voted for last Friday and Saturday morning. All this week, we've ensured that our voices have been heard loud and clear, and you've heard so clearly today from so many people associated with the university of how important UConn is to Connecticut. And I've had the opportunity this week to share with you my own personal story. As a first-generation college student, I was able to go to UConn because the university was affordable. My sister and I are proud UConn graduates because previous legislatures believed in affordable, quality higher education. But unfortunately, a week ago, with every Republican vote in the legislature, the General Assembly said, no, we no longer care about that. But you have stood strong this past week and made it clear we will not accept the decimation of UConn.
That's right.
Students turned out by the thousands the other night to rally against these cuts. You're all here today. So what I want to tell you at this point, you've heard so much about how important UConn is, and I know you all know this in your minds and in your hearts, and you're making your voices heard loud and clear. But when you have these conversations with people who try to defend their vote for this budget that decimates UConn, they're going to say a few things to you. They're going to say, well, UConn can get it elsewhere. As Gregg pointed out, elsewhere means student tuition bills. And that is unacceptable. They're going to say, well, they can get the money from the foundation. That is absolutely not true. The amount of this cut is almost equal to the amount the foundation has in its endowment. It's outrageous. The excuses they're giving for voting for this budget and decimating the University of Connecticut. We need to fight back, and we are doing it loud and strong, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to stand with you, and yes, we will win this battle.
In my district, over 1,300 people earn their living at UConn, UConn Health, Jackson Labs. 1,300 jobs. This budget puts those jobs at risk. And guess what? We need jobs in Connecticut. We want to keep these great jobs in Connecticut. And you're fighting for all those workers in my district, so thank you. About 7 or 8 years ago, the governor and President Herbst had a vision for the future of UConn. And as Representative Haddad said, we're just seeing parts of that come to fruition. Stanford just opened a campus. Hartford just opened a campus. We are increasing access to UConn across the state because a UConn degree is worth so much. You get such a great education, undergraduate, graduate, medical, dental, graduate school. We need you, UConn. We need you. And just as that vision is coming true, the Republican and several Democratic legislatures want to cut your legs out from under you and said, oh, we had a vision, but you know what? Oh, we changed our minds. We're not going to let that stand. No way. This is about jobs and economic development. You know, there was a report about 3 months ago that came out in the news. Some of you probably heard it. It said that 58% of Republicans didn't think higher education was important. When that report came out, I said, well, that's not true in Connecticut, because in Connecticut we've been investing in higher education, growing higher education. We understand that it's linked with innovation and job growth. So that's not true in Connecticut. You know, I am the child of Republicans. I know that Connecticut Republicans believe in education and higher education. And last week, I was proven wrong. The Republicans in Connecticut said, we do not believe in the importance of higher education. We're not going to prioritize that anymore. That is not good for the future of our state. We need these students. We need you. So, wake up. I was wrong. I served with many of the people for many years who voted for that budget. I was shocked. that they voted for those kind of cuts to UConn, knowing what we all know about the importance. So we need to move forward, and I want to just take a moment because the policy is important, but this is personal, people, right? It's personal. This is personal. This hits home. For me, a year ago, I did not think my wife would be here today because she's been sick with cancer. But people like Bill Garrity, Dr. Claffey, Dr. Hegday, Dr. Tannenbaum, the nurses are amazing. She's alive today. Because of UConn. This is not all dollar and cents. We want to be a state of innovation, a state that saves lives, a state that's there for our citizens, everyone. And I want the next person with her diagnosis today to have her care next year. We need to fight. Keep fighting.
On a day just like today, a couple of weeks ago, I stood on a stage just a few blocks away from here to open the Hartford branch of the University of Connecticut. It's a proud day where both Democrats and Republicans talked about that day and lauded the investment that we were making in the future of our state. The future embodied by the students that go to the University of Connecticut. It was a great day. That's why I was astonished that just a couple days ago, I had to stand up on the floor of the House to defend against the most draconian cuts ever proposed for the University of Connecticut. And half of those speakers that I stood on the stage with in Hartford a few weeks ago, my Republican colleagues, half of them, all of the Republicans, half of us on the stage, voted to cut the University of Connecticut. They voted to cut the block grants to UConn and UConn Health by over $300 million. They voted to shift costs from the general fund onto the backs of students. By the way, that's an important thing to know. In the bill, they refer to the student body, the folks who pay tuition and fees, as other sources of funds. That's where we've gone, from just a couple of weeks difference. And also, they make devastating cuts